My lord. Oh, yeah. Holy smokies. Here we are. Sooner than we expected.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is what happens when you skip a week. They say, oh, you were going to skip a whole week? We'll make sure you're doing one sooner than that.
We weren't even going to try to skip the week. It's crazy. Like, it just worked out. Like, I don't know. We were gonna do a podcast and then go off to premiere our film out in Montana at the Big Sky Documentary Festival. And then we didn't get around to doing a podcast because we spent a week helping out my family, really, like hardcore. Went from like helping out with the service stuff to doing it full time for a week. And then the week got away from us. So we're like, it's okay. We'll do a podcast when we get back. And we're back already. And
less than 12 hours.
Yes.
From when we left, we were landing back in LaGuardia.
I still haven't really wrapped my head around this, so this will be pretty funny. We're just like going to try to capture our thoughts while they're fresh.
Well, yeah, this is what this podcast is. It's the comedy of Sean and Cass. Our life is a comedy.
Yes. Sometimes it's a comedy of errors. I'm not even sure what I would call this, but basically, Missoula, Montana is really hard to get to. And we didn't book a direct flight because they wanted like thousands of dollars for some reason to go from New York to Missoula. And so like when we first got accepted to this festival, we were like, okay, cool, we can't go. Like, no big deal. We just don't have this money right now. That's fine. God bless. Appreciate you guys accepting us, but we're not going to be able to make it. And I was fine with that. And then like a week went by and I was like, is it weird that we're
like, we have this money.
We have the money, right? Like, is it weird that we're not going to our premiere? Like, we should go to our premiere.
It's one of those things that it's like whether you technically have the money, it's like, is this an expense with everything that we are trying to do in our life that we should be expending? And then I was like, oh, I found one that's like an indirect flight. It's cheaper. Like, we could go, what it was going to be cost for one person, both of us could go out.
The festival offered to put us up for a couple nights. We got another little paid gig for storytelling thing out there. So it was like, okay, cool. This will work out. It won't cost us that much. And so we booked it and we got really excited. And then we went to the airport and got on our flight. And our connecting flight was in Minneapolis. Right?
Yeah.
To go to Missoula, and we landed in we basically missed our connecting flight because somebody had clogged the toilet on the fucking plane we were on in the flight before, and we got on the plane. They let the whole plane get on. They taxi out there, and then they're like, okay, now that everyone is stranded on this flight, the toilets don't work.
So no one can use the bathroom. And I'm not like a sensitive stomached person. Like, I'm strong. I'm fine. And I just started having waves of, like, am I going to be the person who, like, the fact that I'm in a confined space and there's no bathroom is going to, like,
is it about to be me?
Yeah, like,
yeah.
You know, when you're, like, all of a sudden you're, like, churning. You're like, wait, I can't. Oh, ugh.
I consider myself formerly one of those people to the point where now I kind of laugh. Like, I hear an announcement like that and I'm like, oh my God, somebody's freaking out. There's probably 12 people on this plane freaking out right now.
And I was one of them.
Like, and clearly whoever makes that announcement has never dealt with like that kind of, I don't even know what to call it, but we have other friends that have been through this, that live their life in this kind of realm of like, if you hear that there's not a bathroom around, all of a sudden you have
anxious
to take
stomach.
Yeah, an anxious stomach. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been a joke of our life. One of our friends, we were on
we were on the Batman ride at Six Flags together.
and we do the ride and we get there and we're like 50 yards from like where you go in and debark or whatever, but just like free hanging.
Yeah.
And we're just there for an amount of time that started to feel uncomfortable, and our friend is just yelling.
He just starts saying, like, get me off.
He starts yelling, get me off.
Get me off. There's, like, kids on this thing. There's, like you know, like we're the people that should need the least amount of help, our group of people, you know, and he's screaming, get me off. Once they did get us off, he beeline to the bathroom. I thought it was so funny.
But now,
again, as a person that's gone through that, but I feel like I'm on the other side of it. I can kind of like look at that stuff and be like, oh yeah.
well, now at any time I'm like in a situation, I just go, get me off.
Yeah. Oh, we use that. We use that phraseology all the time. It applies to so many things. Get me off.
Well, the timing was so cosmic because I was sitting on the plane being a hater. I was like, even on our Discord, I was like, I don't want to be a hater. If you're going to open a comment by saying, I don't want to be a hater, and then you hate, I was being a hater. I was like, they're playing some music that I'm just not down with them blasting music in a confined space, you know?
Like, it's already tight in here and it's hot. And then you just said that we can't use the bathroom. And we're just sitting here. No one knows when we're going to leave. And you're blasting. I had blasting music.
I had that complaint before the bathrooms. I like wrote out my complaint. I was like, damn, this should be consensual. And then all of a sudden it was like, all right, we're going to be here a little bit longer because the bathrooms aren't working. So nobody used the bathroom.
I feel like I shouldn't have complained.
I was like,
it just got worse.
It just got worse. Like, you can't complain. You cannot judge because life will just throw it a little bit harder.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Oh, it's like, oh, you think that was the challenge? No.
And then we're sitting there, you know, not moving. I'm realizing slowly but surely we're going to miss our connecting flight. And I'm like, I miss the damn Halsey music. Like, I need something to focus on, even if it's hate focus. Like,
that's funny.
I had music and there were TVs, but I'm like, all of a sudden I had this moment where I was like, I know why they play music. It just like gives you something to just take over.
Yeah, it does. It takes over.
But there's such like a lot of the songs were heartbreak songs, and I'm like, this feels like who knows what people are going through. And then I was like, that's what life is. Life is, you know, you watch a commercial, a show comes on. Life is heartbreak. You run into an ex, whatever it is. You can't control these things.
Yeah. It was. I mean, look, it was just like another day in the life. But it was a weird one. It was a very weird one, charged with that kind of stuff. This is the problem with having a Discord. If you didn't have a Discord where people were going to actually pay attention to what you were saying, or if you just didn't want to throw a little log on the fire of our Discord for the day, you wouldn't have gone on Twitter and said that, or Instagram, or like you wouldn't have opened up like, oh, let me get out there and blog about. Like it just would have been a passing thought. This passing judgment.
It was a funny thought though.
It was hilarious.
It did feel funny, but then
I think that music's designed to distract you.
Yeah, there's like a frequency of like current pop.
Yeah,
and
it scrambles your signals.
A high pitchedness.
Yeah. Yes. Like a tinniness to it.
But
almost.
also like the way they sing is just like up here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying they're not soulful people, but maybe the commercialization of it all, it just all feels like the same thing, an amalgamation. I'm not even. Yeah. But this is what I said. I said we'll get into current pop. It just might be like 10 years from now.
It won't be current then.
I know. Well,
because people will be long gone. That's the problem. I can't keep up with the pop music game. Like, you know, I know our community sometimes busts our balls about it, but I'm like, what do you want me to do? Keep up with all this shit? Do you know how many people in the time since you've been listening to the podcast, how many people have come and gone that maybe someone would have said is important for me to get down with? Come on. What are we doing? But so we're sitting there. I guess I kind of realized I love traveling with you because I know nothing about what's going on. I just follow your lead. I know nothing. I don't know when our flight is, where it is, what airline, anything. It's beautiful. I just have my ID in my pocket. I have my sunglasses on, a hat, headphones in, and I just follow my girl. And it's pretty sweet. So I really kind of was sitting there in ignorant bliss. The intrusive thought came every now and then, like maybe we're missing our flight. Like, when is our connecting flight?
Well, it's funny because...
But I was like, I don't give a shit.
I feel like in the last few podcasts I keep saying, because we have this new tincture, because weed's legal, and we've been buying local tinctures, and there's this one called Chill, and we love to chill.
We do love to chill.
And the Chill tincture is the best when your life is chill. But when you need to all of a sudden make instant decisions about, like, what flight you're getting on, I'm like... my brain did not work. And I was like, that's funny. Maybe lesson learned. A lot of lessons learned.
A lot of lessons from this one. And it wouldn't seem like it. It would seem like a proper excuse to become judgmental complainers. But it's way too funny and charged with messaging specifically for us.
Well, I think everyone knows, and everyone goes through this. Like you're going about your business and things don't happen the way and then the way you were expecting. And then you kind of have to take stock of all the moments maybe you were
It
ungrateful.
did go right. All the moments it has gone right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just life reminds you. So anyway, we just sat there, and finally we took off. And I guess Delta knew all the while that there was people on that flight that were missing their connection, and that they were going to do nothing to help them. So we land in Minneapolis. I'm still ignorance is bliss, and I'm looking over to Cass. I'm like, what's the deal? Are we gonna catch our other flight? And you're like, it's gonna be fucking tight. and I'm like looking at the thing, and I'm like, what time is it? And you're like, it leaves at 6:20, and it's like 6:05. I was like, we missed it. Like we could chill.
Yeah, you were smart.
We missed it.
I kept hope.
You were they're like, so there are some people that are going to need to catch a connecting flight, so please make room for them and let them be off first. Everyone on the flight pops up, including you. And you're like standing there like, come on, Sean. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Sacrifice my chill over what? So, we finally get off the flight. As people are getting off the flight, they just start running. We are one of those people. We didn't even know we were running to. Turns out where we were trying to run to was 2 miles away and required like connecting train services to get there. This is the flight Delta sold us to get to Missoula. This is insane. The thing had already left. And so we're like literally both like stoned in an airport. Like, what should we do? What do we even do right now? And like Delta's approach is just like, good luck.
It felt like the Hunger Games. They were like,
somebody will try to figure it out. The best of you will survive.
They were like, so a bunch of people on the plane have 10 minutes to get to their next connecting flight. Good luck to ya.
No one there to help you. People actually, like, you get off the flight, any Delta employee you see is like avoiding eye contact. They're like keeping their head down. People are pretending like they're about to finish work. It's 6:30 at night, and we're like, what do we do? Like, not thinking at all. There's a chance we're gonna miss the whole thing.
Well, I was on chill, so I was just like,
we were in chill mode.
I had dosed the chill, and I was like, what?
We were both actually pretty chill until that moment.
I'm such a producer that I was like looking up the flight options as we're taking off before I was super high and like seeing the limited options.
You were like, oh, it was already kind of dawning on you a little bit, like, oh shit.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, let me just watch a stupid movie.
Yeah, let's just watch stupid movies. But yeah, we flagged down one of those guys on a golf cart, and we're like, take us to see whatever, and he bolts us there, and we get there, and our flight's long gone, so like we're trying to ask people to help us. No one wants to help. They finally send us over to this guy, and like before we go to the guy, I turned to Cass and I give you a pep talk. I was like, I know we probably feel chill right now, but this is not the time to have that come across. I was like, we're going to have to beg, borrow, and steal to like get out of here, get our money back. I was still thinking we're gonna end up in Missoula and we're gonna get a refund for all of our trouble. They're basically like, there's no way you can get to Missoula tonight. We could put you up here for a couple nights in this fucking airport, and maybe we could get you there on Sunday. I mean, they just gave us like no options.
They're like, do you want to fly to Bozeman? And it's the 3-hour drive. You could rent a car. You'll get there by, that was like 3 a.m. We just started to feel fry.
Yeah.
And I think, we joke, we had some friends tell us about how they, parachuted out of a LSD trip not too long ago, and we were like, damn, that's like what the point is, the hard lessons. And
you push through the hard thing. You know what I mean? You push through, and it's so glorious once you do.
Yeah, but we realized, and you said this on our ride home, you were like, yeah, we
parachuted out of this whole thing. Like literally the guy was like, all right, here's your options, and it's like a gauntlet of challenges that I think the thing that got us both was it required like 5 more flights and rental cars all of a sudden. And we're like, okay. And he's like, or in 5 minutes you could go back to LaGuardia. And we're like, it's so funny. Like, very rarely are you and I ever like looking at each other like neither one of us has a beat at all on what to do. So like before I even know it, like my natural instinct is just like, I'm calling my mom.
You're a mama's boy.
Oh, yeah, I'm such a mama's. I don't even think of myself as a mama's boy, but I was like it just felt like there needed to be a tie-breaking vote. We needed to have like someone step in and tell us what to do. And I'm like calling my mom, and she's like, "Oh, did you make it?" And I'm like, "No, the opposite. I think we're like coming home right now." She's like, "Sean, stop. That can't be right." She starts looking up options. There's none. You already knew that. The fucking flight attendant guy's telling us the same thing. So we're like, all right, fuck it. We'll take the flight back to fucking LaGuardia. board the flight, and it started hitting me like waves of like, I don't know how else to describe it, but grief, just like embarrassment and grief.
Oh yeah.
And like we got there,
Like
and I
we
was
couldn't get it together.
like oh,
I'm like a producer who's like, I can get us places, and I do kind of blame the weed. I don't want to. No, this is not an energy for blame.
No.
I think everything's perfect. I don't even want to blame.
This all happened for a reason. We'll get to that.
I trust it all happened for a reason, and I will say there was a reason I dosed on edibles to be chill.
Mm-hmm.
But usually I would have my wits about me and be like, hold the flame. For like, it's cool.
Carry the torch.
It's cool. You and I have fun together. We have fun no matter what the situation is. We can spend hours in an airport.
Sean, we're going to be having sex in like 45 minutes in an airport hotel. It's going to be fine.
Yeah,
there was just nothing. We had nothing.
No, I didn't have it. That was there. I didn't have it accessible.
I thought of it.
Yeah.
I said it's not enough of a concession for the amount of flights we're going to have. I just hate flying so much, and it's not because I'm scared, but it's just like the indignities, one after the other. So I'll tell you a couple of the things that might have kind of tripped me up a little bit. I think I just got a little too comfortable with the idea that we were going to make it there.
Yeah.
From way earlier in the day.
Yeah.
I was not in my spiritual discipline. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
And take all this with a grain of salt. Like, our spiritual life is fun and funny. It's not overly serious. It's not dogmatic, but and this might sound like it has some elements of that, but we're just trying to work this out. But like, my dad offered to drive us down there, and I was kind of like, no, what the fuck? Why would we take a ride? Why am I going to make my dad drive? And he's going to annoy the shit out of us.
No, you want to take the Whitestone, Sean.
He can't understand that I follow the directions, because the directions know about like traffic backups and stuff. And there's all kinds of ways to get to the airport. But he wants his one way. So like we had a very, very, very stressful, I would just say from my perspective, ungrateful ride to the airport.
Can I say what you said?
Sure.
You were like, I pray this flight goes down.
Yeah.
And that you were just, I was like.
My dad was so, like you got to understand what it would take to push me into something like that. My dad was being so unchill that like we both knew like, oh man, if he doesn't stop, like we're going to be fucking landing at the airport already in stress chemicals. Can't be good. It's just not good. So, I mean, like, he just wouldn't stop. He just sitting there, oh, God. He wouldn't let me play music or look at the directions.
He's the best.
And then I'll get around to that.
Yeah.
He was annoying the shit out of us. It would annoy the shit out of anybody.
Yeah.
This isn't me, like...
Everyone has this thing with the old and new guard of technology and the different things.
And it's cute. It's adorable. It's funny to me now. But, like, when I'm trying to catch a flight, like, him being like, no, don't take that exit. Take that. Oops. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to tell you to take that one. Like, it's like, dude, like, come on, man. So I land basically like me and my dad apologizing to each other. And then as soon as we get through security, I'm calling him like, you're home, right? Cool. Yeah, we love each other, Dad. Like, but it really, the day started normally, like I've told our people before, we get in the car and we say, yo, all the archangels, you're with us. We honor you. We name them. We shout out all the homies. And we ask them to surround us and protect us and deliver us safely and inspired to wherever we need to go. And all of that went out the window. All my practices went out the window because I was around the human incarnation of stress and anxiety and cortisol. The human incarnation. And
your personal trigger, too.
Yeah, my personal trigger. Which became, I mean, you were triggered by the end of the car ride. You were like, Jack, stop.
I was like, we're taking this exit. This is the exit we always take.
Jack, you're listening to us. And he's like, oh, God. Oh. By the end of the car, he's like, please forgive me. And I'm like, it's fine. We just got to go. Show up at the airport like that. So I'm already like spinning. The second we get through security, I'm like, all right, we got plenty of time here. I spotted this family restroom. I'll just tell you what. I'll be honest with you and my people.
Oh, my God.
I just fucking kept going in there and doing ketamine. And I was having the time of my fucking life at this airport. Just looking exactly how a motherfucker looks right now. Sunglasses, hat on, just head down, completely just fucking Dissociation Nation, loving it, listening to our latest Church of Chill mix, like sounding so good. I was like, sweet. Just getting inappropriately high for being in public, but I'm like, whatever. Just giving myself the excuse. Not coming back to my breath, meditating, stretching, doing the things I normally do at an airport.
You said you medicated.
I had to.
You didn't have to, but you felt
I
you
didn't
had
have to. I felt like I had to.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I had to. And then, I mean, once all the shit hit the fan, when we're in Minneapolis, and like we get on, it caught up to me basically once we were taxiing away or headed back to LaGuardia. It was just catching up to me that like we weren't going to be there for all these, like we had all these exciting things lined up. People from the community were going to come meet us. We had a screening, we had Q&As lined up. We had like parties to go to and shit. And it was just like catching up to me that like we weren't going to be doing that. And I was like, so before we even go anywhere, I'm like, Cass is giving me literally bumps of ketamine in our seats. Everybody around us must have seen what we were doing. I don't even care. And I just zoned out and just watched the worst movie ever on our way back. Don't watch the movie A Real Pain, starring Jesse Eisenberg. Oh, Lord.
I rewatched Bridesmaids and laughed my ass off.
Yeah, good one.
Oh my God.
Really good. But, and here's where it all came back together. The shit's hitting the fan. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, just texted my parents like, hey, we're coming back to New York tonight. And we're thinking, we'll grab a hotel. Because our car's not available to us. Like it's going to be midnight when we land back there and our car's not available to us. We'll grab a hotel. And it's like, fucking, the one positive lining with all this is like that the $1,500 that we put into all this madness we were going to get back. And then we were going to end up blowing most of it on like cabs, food, and hotels in New York City. And I was like, oh, God. And like, without even skipping a beat, my parents were like, we'll be there. And my mom sent my dad right back down. And he was there. He couldn't wait to see us, and I couldn't wait to see him. And it was just like, it really felt like that's what it was about. Like, because me and my dad have a tight relationship, but we can get on each other's nerves sometimes.
Yeah.
And my heart was so heavy, and I know his is, when we can't get along. And when we can't see eye to eye because he's so anxious and I'm so medicated and chill.
Or you get really impatient with his anxiety.
Why are you crying?
I don't know. Just
what was it I was talking about?
I don't know. Just it hit me that like you're like you get so frustrated by your parents, but like they're your best friends, and I love them. You love them so much, and I just think it's just that's what the human relationships are. These like moments of like intense frustration, but there's like below that like surface level frustration is like a deep love, and part of the reason for the frustration is you so badly just want to be present with your dad, so
badly.
And so
I just want to have a regular in the moment with him.
Yeah, totally.
Isn't this song cool?
Yeah, and you catch little whispers of it because you keep trying.
I keep trying.
Yeah, and he's awesome. But yeah, it was just it's beautiful for me to see your heart go from like
this motherfucker.
I hope this plane goes down. And right before we went out, I think you were having a moment of like, if only my dad didn't stress us out, I would have prayed to the angels. And I'm like, you got to stop right there because that's not true.
No, I like look at nothing should get in the way of the things that make me feel a little bit more protected going out into the world.
That's
I'm too sensitive.
That's where like the whole humbling happens. Like this whole experience ended up being obviously so humbling in the best of ways, and for that we're just very grateful.
I can only describe it as purifying.
Yeah, it feels like we're going through
purifying.
But that's what life feels like.
To get so attached to going out, and we won this fancy award at this festival, and we were going to go collect our award and do our Q&A and be hot shots. To just get fucking totally just humbled. And
just be embarrassed. Like, we couldn't even figure it out.
No,
we just
we
were just like
oh my gosh,
I guess we're not doing this. I guess we'll take our money back and go home. Like I guess we'll get the refund.
But it brought up so quickly so many impurities that I just had to go through and deal with, that I feel like better today.
Yeah.
I feel like I drank ayahuasca last night.
Yeah.
All it took was me going from point A to point A with a little stop in Minneapolis in between.
Totally.
The real hero's journey.
Oh my-
I came back with a new lens on my dad and seeing like this is him at his finest, is when he can be in service. And that's where he rises to the occasion. It's in the day-to-day that life really can swallow him up, in the day-to-day routines. And where he really kind of shows how much of a lover he is and how much he can put his anxieties aside is when his kids need him or someone needs him or a stranger, literally. And we've talked about that before. But he's such an incredible man, and he's taught me so much about how to live, and he has so many qualities that I don't have, and I was telling him that last night, you know. And so it's just crazy how the day started and how it ended.
Yeah.
And that's wild magic.
Yeah.
That's what wild magic is. It's not a trick. It's a process of transformation.
Personal evolution.
It's a personal evolution, and it's different, and it might come in really small ways. And it might come with like big reminders. This felt like a big reminder.
Yeah, you
but
had
it was so
macro.
funny.
You had macro reminders. I had micro reminders, and I came home and I like wanted to like of a moment. I'm just being honest. This is what this podcast is. Like, it's not the prettiest depiction of us at all times. Is like I wanted to blame you. Like, well, if Sean had only prayed, if we had only slowed down to pray, if you had it, whatever. But then I just started like going through my head, and I had this moment where I was like, fine. Oh, when we got on the flight, I was like, oh, I want to make sure I get my bag up. So like I kind of slipped into the line in a way that I'm like, I could have been more considerate about how I got onto the line. But, you know, you're just like,
yeah,
you know,
well,
like
I didn't know all this. I was just in a K-hole.
I'm just in little micro things of like, oh,
your little impurities. You're like, that wasn't my best.
It was just my fear. Like, I'm like, oh, my fear and anxiety. Like I'm like, you're in the seat and the line's here and the line's a little longer, and I just kind of slip in because I was like, my seat was right on in the middle of the line. So I just got on line where my seat was. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, is this okay? But I'm just going to do it because we're all going there, and I really hope I can get my bag in. And I just like feel these like little moments of like doubt and fear of like, well, I need to get there faster because we have a connecting flight and I need to make sure they don't check my bag, and like these little like moments of,
oh yeah, it's like the universe always trying to check your integrity.
Yeah, like
are you there?
Yeah, like you think you need to be there first, or you think this is gonna make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I did anything wrong, but I remember having this moment like, wait, should I go way around into the back of the line right now? Is this okay?
I did. Because like, I don't know, we both have our headphones in. We're just doing our own thing. So they called our zone, and I went looping around to the back, and then I saw you were like up front, and I stood in the back of the line for a second. I'm like, what am I doing? And I just like went up there with my girlfriend.
Who do I think I am?
I'm not saying I don't think we were being punished for those kind of things. I think that it's quite the opposite. It's like you wouldn't have even ever thought about those things. We wouldn't be amplifying this to people if we didn't.
Well, it's the cosmic joke. That as soon as the cosmic joke is these reminders is like when you push, things go slower.
If we didn't have something go awry, I don't think you would have considered your behavior yesterday.
Yeah.
Same thing with us. If we had arrived and looked like hot shots today, do you think I'd be contemplating how I treated my dad on the way out the door? Probably not as much.
Yeah, no.
I'd probably be stimmed out with like social shit and come back and expect him to pick us up when he said, and you know, like instead, like I really think me and my dad got to see each other. Well, he got to see a humble version of me, and I got to see a heroic version of him, and I think that's good terms for us to meet on to start to forgive each other and see other dimensions within each other.
Totally, because it was even funny on the ride down, like you took a wrong turn while following the directions, so he felt vindicated with like, see, you should have taken this and this, and he's like, okay, Sean, I'm taking over.
Now I'll take over.
Take
Immediately
this
tells us to take the wrong exit.
and then he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. You were supposed to take east, not west, or west, not east.
I haven't done this in a while, and I was just like, oh man,
I
gotta take care of my old man.
That's why I follow the directions.
Yeah, and we kept asking him, we're like, can you not talk about the directions, not meeting him on his level, because I feel meeting him on his level is dangerous for my nervous system. Again, it just always comes around to that, because I'm really not at my best when I'm in fight or flight. because I'm too good at fighting.
Yeah.
So I think that some of these lessons, I think it speaks to where we're at right now, and
But
I
that's
think it's a
what
good thing.
that's what I want my life to be. I want my life to be like a fire of purification, of like humbling moments. That's what I'm asking for. Like,
yes.
like humble me, keep me straight. I want to stay aligned. I want to.
And is it not in line with inviting wild magic into our life?
Yeah.
Has everything not felt kind of like this? And I forgot about that till I was like telling my mom, I was like, if this was any other film, we might have kept pushing. But something about wild magic, it feels alive, and it feels like it's always transmuting messages to us to chill, to fall back, to hit the gas a little bit. You know what I mean? It feels like it's guiding us. And I told my mom, I was like, this sounds crazy, but I feel like the film was saying, like, you don't need to be out there. That was a good effort, and that was a good enough effort, but you don't need to be out there. This sounds crazy, I understand. But then my mom started reminding me of all the challenges that I had kind of deleted from the making of the movie. She's like, you lost your cinematographer halfway through. And I was like, oh yeah. She's like, Cass had to figure out how to shoot a feature-length film. I was like, oh my God, yeah, I forgot. There was a moment when we just said we were about to say fuck it on this whole project. And there were so many micro of those moments. And what did we do when we were making the film? We listened. And there'd be days where, you're anxious to go get something for the movie, and you're like, this isn't a shoot day. This just isn't a shoot day.
Well, I'll say when the plane's really loud, taking off, I'm like, we don't fly enough. I think that's why the music was bothering me. I'm like, I'm out of practice. I was just like feeling like stimmed out and just being like, what's wrong with me? Like, but then I made a friend in the back of the flight, and we were joking about how loud it was, and she's like, you'll be fine. And I think usually, I think these bigger lessons that we're talking about, like your relationship with your dad was like that's your biggest relationship, and it was the most important one.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, all right, do over. Not that we're going to go out to Missoula, because again, the second, but like, all right, do over.
Yeah.
It's Groundhog's Day.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. Well, where I realized I was getting somewhere was on the ride home. And this gave my dad something to feast on. Fuck, the whole ride home. Like I just can't believe it. And I said, you know where I'm at right now, Dad? As much as this kind of could make me sad, I feel like there's a reason for this. And a step further, I don't need to know what it is. And that little addition to that sentence that just kind of came out of the heart for me. It wasn't me trying to sound anything.
Well, you and I were going.
Well, that was the difference. I was like, that's evolution. I don't care what the lesson is.
Yeah, you and I were going
here for it.
Back and forth at night, and you said that to me because I was like, all right, was it that I had an impurity about trying to see if I could get on the flight sooner by where I was standing, or did I complain about this artist that I'm sure is like a wonderful person? And
it's probably helped a lot of people.
It has probably helped a lot. Did I try to control Sean's relationship with his parents before
Should we have not
left?
criticized Kendrick's halftime show so much? Why are we talking about other artists
we
like
shouldn't
that?
have. You can't list your thing as bankrupt vibrations without expecting yourself to be part of a bankrupt vibration.
All that said,
I was like doing the inventory, like, all right.
And it was compelling. I was listening to you. You're like, and then this, and here's also how I fucked up.
And I feel like yes, and also it doesn't. It's all perfect, and it doesn't. Like you were saying, the lessons I think on a cellular level, on like a body level, just like get downloaded.
It's not for us to discern. Why? What?
Like it happens micro and instantly. These little moments.
Absolutely.
That I don't have to go back and do the inventory and be like, well, next time, it's just like that is what my life is.
Pay attention to. I think the better thing to pay attention to is like kind of what I'm focusing on is the chasm between who you started out as and who you've become, and hopefully that there's positive growth there, and I could feel that within a day yesterday. Within a day. I could feel Purification's burnout. lessons learned, integrated, and relationship healed. Shit. If I had to go out to some airport, 6 hours away and come back to heal my relationship, even if it was for that day with my dad, it was worth it. So this is what I call angelic economics. Like we're all working within some sort of economic system. But I so reject capitalism that I think I've started answering to a higher power and doing, dealing with the angels in whether or not they care in a little bit more of a transactional way, where it's like, hey, I'll try to keep living in alignment if you just keep showing me these lessons, and together we'll trust that everything else will work out. And that the actual financial economics, which is like very 2D, 3D world, will work itself out if there is a bull market in my angel economics, so to speak. I don't know. I'm just talking shit, but
no, I think it makes a lot
they
of
know
sense.
what I'm doing with them, and it's a hard thing to speak to because it's so personal.
Well, that's what I was
that
saying.
I'm talking about. Not even my actions, not even my words. I'm talking about my thoughts.
Yeah,
It's a tidying up of things.
Yeah, like I was going through this with you last night, like all the little things, and I was like, it is so personal though, because I'm here. This is the Ferris wheel that I'm on.
What you take away from yesterday, what I take away from it, are going to be different, even though we were sitting exactly next to each other
and
the whole day.
how I co-created that experience.
And how I did.
And I know that I did because I know that's like the rule of we're co-creating our experience here.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
we had the same thing happen to us technically, but we took completely different things away from it. And I think because of our PMA, our positive mental attitudes, we both kind of upped our game from something like this. And I can remember other times along the way, especially of making this movie when that's happened. We got a commercial job dangled in front of us that we swear we were going to get, that the goddamn producers acted like we were going to get. And we're in the middle of shooting, and they were like, no, you're not going to get it. The money you thought you were going to have, fuck you.
well,
We had a better day after that.
Yeah. Well, what I'm, trusting is like, yeah, maybe we're trying to do a new movie, and maybe we need that little bit of extra money that was going to be and put it towards this new movie.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't need to know.
Yeah, that's the point.
And I don't want to
You don't need to know.
I don't need to be
I think
scared.
the clinging to narratives or evidence or where's this going or what does that mean is what can get you really tied up and maybe stagnated.
And superstitious.
Well, that's what I want to avoid.
Yeah, and I'm
just going to do my best, and the angels understand that.
I'm going to try to do better.
Because they are me. They're
Yeah.
parts of us.
Yeah.
They are us in our highest form. Free of all the impurities of being stuck in a human body, it just automatically gives you.
You know what's so much more important than any of it, and what I just appreciated so much is like we were both having the looking at each other like, holy shit, there's no good decision here to be made.
Yeah.
Because we were like already definitely missing an event that we were going there for.
Or are they all good decisions? Anyway, yeah, I'm listening.
And we were just staring at each other so lost and like both going through like, wait, are we making the right what? But just being like, we're not gonna take this out on each other. Like you gave me like a fist bump and like we held hands like when we got on the flight back to LaGuardia, and it was, and then I didn't know if I was gonna have to sit there miserable with you because I was like, all right,
for what?
I was like maybe I shouldn't knit because I'll blast my light, and maybe I shouldn't. I don't know what to listen to, and I don't know if I should watch a movie because I don't want Sean to think I'm not taking this event seriously.
Oh, babe.
And then you just like fist bumped me and said it's all gonna be okay, and turned on a movie, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh, well, I was like, first give me a couple bumps of K. I calmed down. Fist bump. We're gonna be fine. Let me just watch this shitty movie. What else can you do? Look, I appreciate you holding space and like, this is very serious. This is going to be like, I appreciate you because like you said to me, like my mood can be 10 times bigger than yours, like way bigger. Like I'm the one to defer to when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Well, I made you make the decision. Like, I was like, I can't live with
being the person that said we can't go watch our film premiere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll make that decision. That's fine.
Or make the decision that, like, yes, we need to take 2 more flights tomorrow and go through this whole thing and stay overnight and, like, go back through security. And you'd be like, Cass, what the hell are we even doing? I was like, I can't be the person who makes that decision either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think when the angels or the universe or love or God or Jesus or whatever you want to call it delivers you a lesson so pristine that even my scrambling egoic mind that wants to blame somebody or something, even if it's just a corporate entity like Delta, there was nothing for that part of me to feast on. And that's why I call this lesson so just pristinely beautiful. It's just like, let go, enjoy the ride. Enjoy this shitty movie. Distract yourself. You watch a shitty movie and you're like, what even are movies?
I know.
What?
Well, why don't you talk about how you watched a good movie? I thought the first movie on the first flight, you looked at me and you were like, you pointed to it and you said thumbs up.
I watched, I'd say it's an incredibly important film.
Great.
It's called Perfect Days by Wim Wenders.
Oh, what other films has he done that he sounds very familiar?
I think, did he do Paris, Texas? God, he did a bunch.
Okay, I'm not doing this.
It's a different side of my brain.
Okay,
but,
that's fine.
It was just it's very simple. It's about a Japanese man who cleans toilets in Tokyo for a living, and it's just observing his life. And it's a very, very humble existence. And it's a very quiet existence. And he doesn't speak more than a few lines in the whole movie. People around him do, but he doesn't. And you're just kind of just watching what a day feels like, and then another day feels like.
Does he go in the bathroom and go?
No, he doesn't fuck with people the way I would. And he has a chance to. He's so honorable that if someone comes to go in the public restroom, while he's in there cleaning, he stops what he's doing and he goes outside and he just puts his head down until they come out, and then he nods his head and goes back in and does this. And he takes his job very seriously, and it's awesome. It's such a I watched a guy clean for 2 hours.
I mean, you as a person who loves to clean, I mean, I feel like that's porn for you.
It really was. It was so beautiful because I don't think I could relate with the character more. This guy was so happy. His life was just happy. And what his life consisted of was a routine.
How do you know he was happy? Was he smiling?
Oh, you could feel it. It was emanating off this movie. The whole movie was just like how happy this guy was. And like he went through a range of emotions, but he idles on happiness. And he takes care of these toilets, but every day he takes something off of a tree and starts a new one. So he's taking care of all these plants. He's growing trees and planting them. And on his lunch break, he takes one photograph of the same tree every day. So he has his style of doing life. And it's just really sweet to watch. And he just he reads his book, and then it's time to go to bed. And then when he wakes up...
Maybe I should make a documentary of your life.
Yeah, you could do that. You could
just be like, okay... Mom and Dad, Kathy and Jack, I'm gonna just be making a documentary of Sean over the next few weeks.
Just use Nest Cam footage.
He's like, no.
We
need to be chill. Things need to be chill.
Oh my God, someone's got to enforce it.
The TV is poison.
Yeah.
I love you so much. I appreciate you letting me joke with you and stuff.
Oh, it's all good. I've dismantled my character and put it back together so many times on this podcast that what could you do to hurt me? Come on.
I know. I love you so much. I don't mean to embarrass you or anything.
No, I know you do. And I also know that is somehow being together for this long, you develop a side of your personality that when your partner gets knocked off their thing, that it's really funny. And I'm one of those people to you. But can I just say how much I recommend this movie, Perfect Days?
Yeah. I want to see it. Will you watch it again?
Sure. It's great. And I can't remember who, but some people had recommended it because I was like, God, some movies just like overwhelm you. Like I wish there was more movies that just like kind of let you chill. And like we love those movies. We really cling to them. And then this came out, and it's so generous. I think it's so generous to make something so meditative and quiet and not editorializing or over contextualizing or just taking it too far with exposition or anything. It's just like, here we are.
Well, I started saying I want to film you because genuinely your life is very similar to that. Like
This is
like
so,
besides those moments where you're like freaking out, which are few and further between.
Yeah.
They truly are fewer and further between. But you do have a very like humble, disciplined way of going about like, all right, I did the laundry, I cleaned the bathroom, like.
Yeah.
Over and over. Like you clean the bathroom like 10 times for every one time I would even clean the bathroom.
Yeah.
And if I had lived alone, I'd be like, it's fine.
I don't know.
It's fine.
And it is. It's just like, but it's also part of I don't know, at least my practices right now. So I really related with this guy, and I just thought about how sweet and generous and offering it is. And I think people should take note of that stuff when you watch a movie like this that is truly the definition of a slow burn. That what it took for that filmmaker to deliver that to the screen with all
what about to get that front?
Commercial entities trying to squeeze anything they can out of it.
And to be on a commercial flight.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, for that film to have it made its way to me, I consider a small miracle. And it's just so generous because I know that filmmaker has had to hold incredibly uncomfortable space in explaining what this vision was until you could just present it. But I have a feeling that once he presented it, that people involved were absolutely blown away. And just very cool. I mean, like he listens to tapes. That's his whole thing. Like he doesn't have a vinyl collection like me. That's where we're different. He has a giant tape collection. And he's just always throwing in, and it's like he's obsessed with Lou Reed and Patti Smith. It's all like American music like this guy loves. And it'll make you cry. So I watched that on the first flight, and then I watched A Real Pain, which
it was a real
lived
pain.
up to its title and what it was like to watch it. It was truly like just like a painful experience that felt very alienating. Yeah, when something doesn't work, it makes me feel very alienated. I feel like I'm an alien entity watching, like, oh, this guy Jesse Eisenberg wrote a script. He's been a millionaire since he's 20 years old. He wrote a script and he got the pleasure of and it's just nothing. And I mean, to go from a movie Perfect Days that literally is nothing. You can't. It's nothing. It's watching a guy's days to something like this that is such a try-hard Hollywood failure in every sense, just soulless, heartless movie that's so proud of itself. Just stood in such contrast, those two films. I don't recommend that one unless you're just like want to feel a little bit befuddled and disillusioned.
And if you saw the movie and you liked it, feel free to disagree with
Sound
Sean.
off,
Sound
please.
off. That's what we're gonna just more and more just say unpopular opinions and then just open it up as a sound off.
Man, maybe it should be a segment of the show towards the end for the real ones.
Unpopular opinions.
Yeah. Hey, what's your unpopular opinion of the week? And mine would be, I don't like A Real Pain that much, but I don't know. You never know.
Oh, mine is that I don't really like them blasting pop in a closed plane before it takes off.
Yeah. They should be playing 432 hertz, like singing bowl sounds or something.
I was like, I think instrumental would be the way to go. But then I was like, I think that can be triggering for people.
You don't understand. They're trying to trigger you. They're trying to make the circumstances.
No, they want people to be calm so no one gets out of line on a plane. What do you mean? They're not trying to trigger you.
I guess.
They don't want to be triggering the
No.
passengers. Trust me, that is not the intention.
Oh my God.
And look, I was just a little like, it was really loud. I was like, it's just very loud. So that's my unpopular thing. But by the end of it, I was like, I need that music back. So what do I know?
By the end of it, you were like, who is Billie Eilish? I've never heard of this.
If questioning them is going to make me cause a plane delay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like what you were saying, we watch Kill Tony every once in a while. And there were a couple good episodes in a row, and then there was an episode recently that was like, a lot of episodes have been really rough, and just kind of like, wait, why do we watch this show again?
Yeah.
And I literally don't watch it. I just like knit or do other things. And
Yeah.
But there were a couple really fire episodes, and then there was one episode that just like wasn't getting off the ground. And one of the comedians was like, when you watch comedy like this, you wonder to yourself like, what? You have an existential crisis, and it kind of sounded like for a second.
Yeah, totally.
Like Ari Matty was having an existential crisis. Is like, is comedy
What
even
is comedy?
Yeah, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And I think you can have that feeling sometimes when you watch movies. You're like, or commercials or anything. You're just like, wait, what is it that we do and why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
It's a relatable kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Probably with podcasting too. Like, be like, what is a podcast?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're still figuring that out.
Yeah, we are.
I think what we're quickly figuring out, having not done a film festival in 12 years, it's much more cool now to be a podcaster than a filmmaker. The Q&A that we just missed, we did it via Zoom instead, and the moderator was like, oh, I know about your podcast. Like, it was like very like, oh.
She's like, I'm cool because my kids saw me watching a podcast.
I'm like, I've made 20 films. We made American Juggalo. This is just us talking shit.
Well, I'm so grateful that it's a killer bummer. I'm still sad about it, and I feel like a failure in
this
all
film
departments.
doesn't need us. That's what it was telling us.
Yeah,
it's like this film's like, we got our wings. We got the angel wings. We got this from here.
Yeah, totally. I trust that. I believe that.
I already like.
But congratulations on winning. Big Sky selected Wild Magic for the Artistic Vision Award. So congratulations. That's really awesome, Sean.
Thank you, and congratulations to you.
Thank you. I will take that. Thank you.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
Yeah, we share that. That's awesome. We're psyched about it. We feel very grateful and
Shout
very
out
honored.
Shout out to the audio sound designer Calvin Pia and the colorist Calvin Liu, and Noah Lampert, our dear friend, for doing the
score.
The score,
which I love more and more every time I watch it.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. It's a sleeper. It grew
honestly,
on you.
and like this film is like an odd duck. So for it to be programmed in a festival when we're competing against like very professional films,
yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah! I'm so grateful to Big Sky. So.
Oh, absolutely. And grateful to anyone that watches this film or chooses to show it in public, because I think it's a real pull towards the light. And maybe if you can hear what I'm saying and you can feel what I'm saying, maybe you don't even need to watch the movie. But and save yourself 80 minutes. But I think it's a pleasure. And it's what's cool? I already have people that have seen the film. Strangers are now seeing the film, and they were reaching out to me being like, holy shit, I can't believe what you did here. So that was like the final test for me.
Yeah, because it's on a Big Sky streaming
festival. So we knew it worked on like our friends and family and like, but like people that don't really know us from a hole in the wall being like, dude, that was fucking sick.
And maybe we just need to be home to be more organized to figure out how we can get the film out to our community and prioritize that. And showing everyone who's in the film. We've showed one person who's in the film, and I think they were very taken aback by it. So.
Well, he said, now I can die in peace.
I don't know if he said those words exactly, but that seemed to be the gist that I got through my mom.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, that's super exciting. Yeah, it's just an honor to get to uh, be fishing for ideas as a person, as opposed to be fishing for ways to use my labor. And this is what I mean by angelic economics. It's just like start wading into that side of the cosmic seas and see what happens.
Yeah,
And it's weird because it's divesting from something that feels very important. But I think what you start to realize is that you become more in control of those things.
well, yeah, it's interesting because every once in a while we'll be like faced with like someone really talking to us about capitalist motivations, and we're like, or we're seeming like a little high on ourselves because we're like, oh, we did this film and like feeling a lot of success, and then someone will bring it into like the capitalist realm, and we'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. That's not how we judge anything. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that's. Oh,
you thought we were doing business. I mean, like we are doing business, but it's not like that. And it's not to judge the way you do business because that'll probably make your 3D life a lot easier and better.
yeah, and
This way of doing business is a little bit swimming upstream, given what our culture tells us to do.
yeah, no, and it's real and it's a ride.
It's a trust fall. But the reason I can trust fall is because of how many people have just been so cool to let me talk to them on camera.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I have a very positive view of humanity. And they're my angels. That's it. It's just like, look around you. We're surrounded by them all the goddamn time. If you need a reminder, look towards the other people. Look how cool everybody is. Look how generous everybody is. It's not as dark as people might think.
Oh yeah, well, you have those moments where you're like trying to plead your case, and it's just like this person probably can't help us, but they didn't make us lose our flight.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Like,
why like lessons delivered in this tidy of a package are really worth listening to, because there was nobody to get mad at. Like it's like the low hanging fruit is explode on an airport employee. What the fuck? They don't care. They don't know. They don't. You know what I mean? Like why? Why do that?
I was just like, he's like, I'm sorry about this, and I'm like, I'm sorry about this. You don't want to be talking to me
I mean, you're gonna have to talk to 20 more people like me today. Like this for me, this is just like I have one problem. You have an infinite amount of problems. You're gonna have to
I
deal
got
with.
on the flight to look back to LaGuardia, and the woman who like greets you at the front, she said, "How was your day?" And I was like, "Not great."
Good.
And then she's like, "Oh no, really?" And I was like, "What am I saying?"
I know. I know.
What the fuck am I talking
know.
about? She's just like actually having to work this flight, and I'm like, it's not. And then I was like, no, I'm sorry, it was just a flight issue. And she's like, oh, okay, like And I was like, I really am an idiot sometimes.
I'm an idiot.
No. I was like, because she's just like saying, how's your day? And I'm like, not good. And I'm like, why am I even saying that vibration?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell?
Well,
it is
because
good.
it's real. Yeah, because it's real, and you're a real person, and that was nothing to blame or shame yourself about. It was just a real.
Well,
you had a much more real interaction with her than you would have.
I caught myself real fast.
I know.
Was like,
I heard you.
You heard me?
Yeah.
I was like, not so great.
I was blasting Replacements in my ear. I was like, hey, we're in Minneapolis. Let's listen to the Replacements. It made me feel a lot better. I was like, this is the local music that I love of this place.
You're so smart.
I was going to follow it up with Prince, but I was like, that's going to make me want to stay here, and we got to go.
No, it was hard. It's hard making a decision so fast because you're like, wait, should we have? What are we pussies?
I guess. I think there's a way of looking at it where like we would have been pussies if we were like, oh, fine, we'll cuck ourselves out and stand in this airport for another 24 hours and sign up for 3 more flights to go. And like you said, we don't know who's coming to this screening. We don't know we don't know anything about this festival, how they've promoted it. We haven't really promoted it. We're assuming that an audience is going to be delivered to us. Imagine,
Yeah, we're not pussies. We're just you just make the best decisions for yourself in any moment, and it's just funny. I know that everyone is also making decisions for themselves based on information every moment, and it's a funny dance that we all get to do here.
Yeah, and any time that you know how your tires need realignment. You know, I need that too. You know, it might not seem like it, but if their tires are slightly not aligned, you go long enough on that and you're going to wear them out or cause an accident or veer off the road or whatever. And I was like slowly but surely veering away from true gratitude towards my parents. They're the best. And like I told them, I said, we could list you guys executive producers of this film because you gave us a place to rest our heads long enough to have focus enough to do something like this. To not have like, oh, we have an expensive house we're paying for right now hanging over our heads. And look, we'll get into all that stuff eventually. We'll grow up, I guess. But like,
or not.
Just for a moment, the fact that they just allow us to stay there. You know, we might come and go a lot, but they allow us to stay there. I'm like, this film wouldn't exist without it. And then to pick me up from the airport in my time
I was
of
like,
need.
I'm not asking them. I was like, you were like.
Well, because you wouldn't ask your parents. You'd be like, oh,
hell fucking no. Are
isn't
you
that
kidding
crazy?
me?
To me, that's crazy. Like, look, there's a lot of stuff we say is crazy about my family. We talk about it a lot on here. But to me, that's crazy. But I love that you know that.
I love my parents, and part of my parents are
and they love us. They really do.
Oh no,
they're
they do.
so good to us.
But my mom will say to you, would say to you like, oh, I didn't. Cass didn't have a place to stay with me after college. She barely had a place.
She gave you a week.
Yeah. No, like, my parents were... My mom is like... But that's what makes me have to get it together, because she kicks me out of the nest. My mom's very much like a kick out of the nest kind of person.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've got the same. I mean, the nest left me at 18 years old. My whole family picked up and left. I went from one of 7 to one of 1, like, overnight, literally. And that that forced me to grow up. But had my family been normal, maybe I would have been coddled too much. Maybe
Well, maybe the reason they won't kick you out of the nest is because you've had it hard enough.
Yeah,
you know,
but I was also away from the nest for like 21 years. Like.
Yeah, no, you know what I mean though. Like we couldn't live with my mom. Like, you know what I mean?
No,
we couldn't. I love her, but like, let's be real. Like, that's not.
I could easier than you could. You know, it's the difference.
And I would never ask my parents. Like, I'm like, we'll use the money to get a hotel room.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to come up with we're deep in the weeds. We love you guys.
Yeah, we love you guys. What you should do is join us and join our film club and our community, and hear part 2 of this and many other podcasts, and get our weekly Church of Chill music mixes on patreon.com/Church of Chill. Currently $2 monthly subscription. Can't beat that price. So get in while you can. And we're going to do part 2 of this episode. I think our friends Kellyanne and Michael are going to join us.
Yeah, no, they're on their way over. So
they're on their way over. So we're going to get ready to welcome some guests, and kind of you guys could watch us kind of fuck around with our friends for a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for listening to this. Peace, love, and magic.